What's up guys, this is Ben back at you with another video. Here I am with my Sony a6500, which I talked about in a previous video where I compared it to the massive Sony FS7. I think I might have mentioned it then, but I'll mention it again. I love this camera. I've used it for the last year or so, and I couldn't even count how many clips I've filmed with it. It's too many to count. Most of the shooting that I do with this is more run and gun style, where it's not a set location where it's set lighting like this. Like a wedding, for example, I might be in one room for one shot and then in a completely different room for the next shot and be running all around. So it's hard to get your exposure perfect for every shot when you don't have too much time in between each shot you're taking. Thankfully, Sony has a whole lot of options to change between in your picture profiles, so you can get one or a few different profiles set up for you to make it easier while you're shooting. They do have a lot that are default in the camera when you first get it and that you can reset back to, but I've found one that works well for me and I wanted to share it with you. A lot of people like to use S-Log 2 or 3, and while it does seem to be pretty popular, I do find that it's a little bit limiting based on the amount of extra ISO that you have to give it sometimes, and I do find that it gives some banding in the shot sometimes, so it's not always the best. So the picture profile that I want to share with you offers a bit, I guess, the best of both worlds when it comes to being able to expose your shot normally and not have to worry about a minimum ISO like S-Log, but it also gives you the opportunity to crush your colors and your contrast in your camera so that you can pull them later on in your editing software. Different Sony cameras might have your picture profiles in a different spot in your camera. On my camera, I've assigned it to one of my custom buttons, so I just have to turn it on and I press C1 here, and then on the side here you can see all of the picture profiles. Right now I have it off, but as you can see we have up to 9 slots that we can customize. I have mine up in number 1 just to make it easy, so I'll go into number 4. You can do this in any slot that you want if you want to copy the one that I'm doing. So while it does seem like there's many options inside of the menu system for the picture profiles, we don't actually have to change too much here. So here we have the list of picture profiles. I'm going to click to the right, and that's where we can edit it. We can skip the black level here, go down to gamma, and we're going to go down to Cine or Cine 2. Black gamma we can skip, and then we go to knee, we can skip that, and then color mode. We're going to go up to cinema. Saturation and color phase we can leave. Color depth we can leave. Detail, we're going to go down to -7 because we don't want the camera adding in any extra sharpness, where we can add in any sharpness that we need later on in post. And then adjust, there's a whole lot of extra things in here, but I haven't played around with any of this, so I don't trust myself changing it up too much. And that's it. -7 in the detail, cinema color mode, and Cine 2 gamma. So that's really it. It doesn't take too much work to get it to there. If you think that's good for you, I would recommend do a few test shots before taking this out on an actual shoot. The first time I ever used this camera was at a wedding, and I was a little lost because I hadn't played around with it beforehand, and I had just sold my old camera to get this camera. So I was a little rusty at the start of the day, but as I progressed through the day, I was able to learn a little bit more about this camera as I used it. So that's all great. We've got our camera set up. Now we go out and film. I've already got 2 shots. I found a little bee patch and I shot it. And I shot one with and then one without the color profile. And I'll show you here how to grade it. All right, so here we are. I have my 2 clips right here and right here. I'm pretty sure you can tell which one is which. So we'll start off with the original clip. You can see that it covers a whole lot of the scope, but you can tell that the Sony colors look good on their own, but they're pretty vibrant and it's a little bit harder to grade. Now if we move over to this one, you can see that there's a whole lot left in the blacks. It's a little bit more free up in the whites. And overall, it's just a whole lot less contrasty and less saturated. So we're gonna go ahead and add I usually add about 30 in the contrast, go up to 125-ish in the saturation. And then from there we can probably pull down the shadows to about -10. Raise the highlights up to about 10 here. Maybe pull down the blacks, because we want our blacks to be just touching the 0 but not going past it. And our whites are already pretty much touching the tip of the 100 level, so we don't really need to push it too much higher. And then past that, that's basically a normal color correction that I do. If we wanted to, we could go to Effects, right click, and save preset as Picture Profile Correction. So now we have our picture profile correction in our presets bin under Effects. We can just drag this and drop it right here, and then that's back to normal, and then we can grade it how we want. If we really wanted to, we could probably go into curves and do a little bit more of an S curve to add a bit more contrast if we wanted. You can tell the difference here. It's a little bit more contrasty there. And then if you wanted to, you could go in and throw a LUT on, add a bit more color, do whatever you want from there. But that's basically it for correcting this custom picture profile. So that's about it. As you can tell, it's pretty simple. It's easy to get going. And since it's a little bit crushed on both ends, that means that you can kind of get away with having a little bit underexposed or a little bit overexposed clips. And then as we saw, you can pull out the highlights or you can pull out the shadows, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility when you need to be running around a little bit more. I hope you enjoyed this video. I think I might start doing a little bit more Premiere Pro, maybe some Lightroom tutorials. This is honestly the first time I've done a somewhat of a Premiere Pro tutorial, so let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one. Peace.